future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Back to the Larry Yates As Is show, just in case some of you didn't realize this is he, this is I, this is me in the house. Hey, I haven't been here for a while. There's some new things going on here. As a matter of fact, when those of you that have, first of all, let me tell you, I just so appreciate you guys for sticking in here with me, hanging in here with me, and I had some challenges over the last few months. But, you know, I've been getting a lot of emails about some people enjoying the reruns that we've been doing. But I'm back here live, and if as you look around, this would be my first time. And you know what? When I first started this show, I had a co-host with me. And I started the show doing with co-hosts because, I'm not the type of guy that can just sit there and run the show. Although I'm a big mouth, and I don't want any of you guys coming back with me on it. I know it. I said, but I'm not a single co-host guy, so I need that safety belt. I need that security blanket by having co-hosts with me, and I love my co-hosts, and I certainly enjoy them, and they'll be back with me. But today, I was challenged to do this thing by myself today because of the guest that I'm going to have on here. It's going to be just one-on-one with this young man, and I know you guys are going to love him because I've been getting email and text messages about him even before the show even started. But what I want to do, before I introduce our guest, let me send my prayers out to the school. I think that's Oregon. It was Oregon, Tony? And where we got another school shooting. And I don't have the exact numbers yet, but I think up to 13 or more may have died. Don't quote me on the exact numbers here. But here we go, innocent people with a nut running around with a gun. And I guess, and I suppose, we still can't have the gun conversation yet in this country because, the big boogie people call the gun, what's the name of that just NRA, right? And I can't believe how much more of this we're going to have to endure, seeing our young people. We're sending our children, our family to school where they're supposed to be safe. We're sending them to church where they're praying to God, and then these nuts turn loose and go in. So my prayer go out to the family and the town, the city, and the country itself, because this is something that we can't get. We can't become numb to this and say this is just another shooting, and I don't want to put it out like that. And going into talking about what's going on, we just had the Pope here, and I have not been the best fan of the Catholic Church, and I'm into politics and whatever, but it's pretty ironic that after the country was really feeling somewhat of a spiritual, seeing a man that represent spirituality, and whether I agree or disagree with the Catholic Church or not, I'm not going to get into that. Whether we're talking about Islam, Christianity, or Judaism or Buddhism, but anybody that represent peace, love, and harmony among mankind, I am with that. I am with that, and I think the Pope did a wonderful job in some of his messages that he's given. So I just want to thank you guys for that. And I'm not going to tie up too much of the monologue for that, because this young man that we have here today is just, I can't even tell you the joy it gives me to introduce to you guys Mr. Gerald Alston. Mr. Alston, are you there with us?
How you doing, Larry?
I am so blessed, and as your publicist said, blessed and highly favored.
All right. That's Dorian.
Yes, yes.
That is Dorian.
How's your family?
My family's doing just fine.
I mean,
Just fine. We're blessed.
you know, and this to me personally, I think this ties in really, really well. I talked to you earlier, and you said you had a son that is just graduating from school.
Yeah, Morgan State graduates in December.
Oh my goodness, is that a blessing? And you know, did you hear some of my opening statements about the we have the school shooting, another school shooting in Oregon?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean,
You know, my condolences and prayers go out to the families and to their community. You know, it's just, gosh, you know, the devil is busy. That's all. I can say the devil is busy.
he's busy, and when you have a kid, and you this is your youngest one, you said that is coming out of school, and I mean to know that you send your children off to school to get an education, to become a better citizen, become a better person, to become a better human being that they can contribute to society, and then you have these type of things to happen, and I think, Gerald, what I'm going to do, I'm going to tie this in. Those of you that I haven't mentioned, this is Gerald Alston of the Manhattan. Can I get some applause over here? And one of the greatest group of all time. I mean, you guys go down as one of the greatest of all time. And I grew up listening to you guys. And someone said to me, "Wait a minute, how are you going to say you grew up listening to the Manhattan when you're around the same age as them?" That's because I can claim to be younger if I want to. But you know, but at the time, what I realized, and I in explaining to someone, like when you are 17 and the person that is singing and that can get in and out of clubs, and they are 21 and 22, they seemed older to you.
Yeah, but you know, you grow up in the music regardless of what age, because if you were there from the beginning up until now, if you came in the mid-70s, you're still a part of it. You grew with our music. You held on to our music, so you're growing along with us. You could be the same age and still grow along with us. With our music. So I understand, you know, exactly. Some people look at, well, you're the same age. That's not necessarily true. You don't necessarily be the same. You could be the same age and grow with our music. Absolutely. You know, you could be a latecomer and still grow with our music.
Oh my goodness, yes, and you know, when you first got into at what age did you say to yourself that I can do this, I can sing?
Well, I knew how to sing I could sing since I was about 3. I remember my mom used to tell me, I don't remember the song. She said, I used to sing a song called "There's a Man in My Soul." I think "There's a Man in My Heart." There's a man in my soul, and it's Jesus. And she said, I used to stand in the bed at 3 years old and would just sing that song.
Really?
Today, I don't even remember the words to it. But I started singing back then. And then I remember, I guess, about 5 or 6 years old, we had a community church called St. Andrew's Christian Church. And all the kids, regardless what church our parents were a member of, all the kids in the neighborhood went to that church and went to Bible school at that church. We just went to that church as a community, the kids, and because we all grew up together. And we went to the church, and I remember they had a program, and I was asked to sing. And I sang, "Yes, Jesus Loved Me." And that was the first. I remember singing that song, and from then on, I was a ham. I was a ham after then.
You know something? You're taking me back to my childhood now, because I remember "Yes, Jesus Loved Me." I think there was 2 songs that I think every kid of my generation knew, and that was "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star" and "Yes, Jesus Loved Me." It was like, wow.
Indeed.
So the church
yes,
was
indeed.
So although you guys had your hits in R&B, and then I think one of your songs perhaps was went pop or considered crossover.
Yeah.
And how did the Manhattan come together?
Well, Manhattan, the guys, I joined the group, I was 19. But the group actually started in 1962, 61, 62. And they went to school together. They put a group together called the Double Sets back in high school, and they sang. And then when they went to the service, they all, Blue, Sonny, and Richard went to the Air Force. No, Blue, Sonny, Richie, and Smitty. These are the original guys I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
They went to the Air Force. Kenneth Keller went to the Navy. But they'd all made a pact that when they get out, they were going to put the group back together. And they came back and they put the group back together and came up with the name the Manhattans, and it was from the drink. But then since they became advocates of no drinking and drugging, we changed it over later on in the very early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, to the skyline of New York. That will be our logo.
Wow.
And that's we've been singing since then. And 61, the group has been together celebrating 54 years. That's right.
I'm here again. I haven't had an opportunity to say this to you, but my condolences because you lost. You lived to see some of them make their transition and go to their Lord.
Oh yeah.
And you just you just lost him. Was that this year?
Yeah. In fact, the last three members, Edward Bivens, Blue Lovett, and Kenneth Kelly, they all died within 3 months of each other. Yeah, Sonny was in December 3rd, Blue was December 9th, and Kenny was in January.
Well, my prayers and blessings goes out to the family, man. I really appreciate you sharing that with them. And I'm saying this too, so some of the audience can get a feel for how you come to the stage where you are now. I mean, the Manhattan stayed together for many years. You guys stayed together when you saw many groups that have those one wonder hits, and they come and they go and fight, and we all fight, but they just couldn't stay together. What held you guys together, other than the music?
First of all, our faith in God, and we all. Even though at times we wanted to do it differently, we all wanted the same thing. And we made a pact that we were going to get that same thing and do it the best way for the group and not an individual. And sometimes we've had arguments and disagreements, but we always remembered that the Manhattans was first. The group was first. We believed in what we were doing. We had faith in ourselves, and most of all, faith in God. And we stuck together. We really stuck together. And that's how we lasted this long. And I'm still singing. We have a new, not a new group, Troy, May, and Dave's. Tyson has been with us for over 20 years now. And my cousin Dwight has replaced Blue right now.
Oh, okay.
And we still going to do audition for a bass singer as well. So probably in very short time, it'll be 5 of us again like it was originally. But I promised Blue and I promised Kenny before they passed, because I've spoken to them, I didn't get a chance to speak to Sonny. But I spoke to Blue and Kenny, and I said I will continue this legacy. The Manhattan legacy will continue.
And all praises to you, man. And we love you. We love you. We love what you guys have done. And here's what I want to do. I want to give some of my listeners a taste of what we are talking about. There's some of my listeners that everybody know you guys, know who you are. But there are some that I'm gonna even introduce to you today, because some of my audience have not been in the R&B world, but I want to introduce them. So I want you to hang on. Do we have Shiny Star? We're gonna bring in one of my favorite songs of all time by any group of anybody is Shiny Star. Hang on, we're gonna let the people hear that a little bit, okay?
All right.
We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, Gerald. Gerald.
Yeah.
Look here, I just went down some memory lanes there that had me doing goose pimples up and down my back. The Manhattans, everybody. Now you, you know that is one of my most favorite songs of all songs, whether it's gospel, blues, jazz, R&B, country, and western. That's one of my favorite right there.
Thank you.
And you really, it is such an honor. And I was just telling the engineer Tony that for me to grow up listening to that and to be blessed enough to be sitting here and interviewing you, and I got to tell you something. You guys got me in a lot of trouble too, Gerald. Oh yeah. I got to tell. Gerald. I tell you, I've been wanting to tell one of the Manhattan this for years. You guys had this song. I'm not supposed to admit this, but I'm going to do it anyway. This is Larry Yates As Is show. We have Gerald Alston here from the Manhattan. Then I'm going to tell him how they hurt me. You guys had this song called "Kiss and Say Goodbye."
Oh Lord, yes.
So my buddies come to me. I finally get this girl that I want, Gerald. I finally get her. So we're doing really, really good. So all of my buddies, they're breaking up with their girlfriend at the time. And one of my buddies told me, I said, well, what did you do when you broke up with her? He said, well, I just kissed and said goodbye. Well, I know that he had gotten that from the Manhattan song, Kiss and Say Goodbye.
Right.
So I go the next day and tell my girlfriend I had played your song, Kiss and Say Goodbye, low on the stereo. And I said to her, baby, look, I'm going to have to break this thing off. The only thing I can do is just kiss and say goodbye. Now I'm thinking I'm going to be able to go back the next couple of days and make it up for her because surely she's not going to take me serious. We're too close.
Mm-hmm.
So she started crying and she left me and I'm saying, I called my buddy. I said, yeah, man, I said kiss and say goodbye to her last night. And then a couple of days later, I started calling her. I said, baby, she wouldn't answer the phone. Then the mother get on the phone. Don't you ever call my daughter again. You said kiss and say goodbye. This is goodbye. That woman never spoke to me again in my whole life.
Never spoke to you again.
And I was kidding.
Oh, God.
But sure. Thank you so much. I got to say this to my audience. Now, you guys seeing me, anytime you guys feel like you are afraid to step outside of your box and doing what God has asked you to do to move forward in life and to build something, look at what your boy Yates is doing today. I'm stepping outside the box, out of my comfort zone, and handling the show and interviewing this young man all on my own today. And I want to say this and tie this into you. You now have your first gospel album. Am I correct on this being the first?
Yes, first gospel album. Right.
And so I say this, you have stepped out here and you've done R&B. You've had some of the greatest songs the world will ever know. And not a lot of artists can make that transition and maintain the R&B world because your songs with the Manhattan, they were all so beautiful, so clean. They had such integrity, and even some of the stuff that the other product that you did as a solo artist. And how do you get here now with the gospel album? And give us the title of the album.
Okay, the gospel album is titled True Gospel, and what I recorded 3 contemporary gospel. Then I went back and did some old gospel. And what happened is that I love this question because I've been asked the question, how did you make the transition? There was no transition. I've been singing gospel all my life. This is just my first gospel CD. I've been singing in the church all my life. My father's a minister, and I sang at his church. The late Johnny Fields,
Okay.
he was one of the 5 founding members of the 5 Blind Boys of Alabama. That's my uncle.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know them.
Yeah.
I've actually been on stage with them many times.
Yeah, and I've grown up in the gospel field all my life. All I did was sing gospel growing up. And when I formed my group, the New Imperials, Uncle Johnny's oldest son, Dwight, which sings with us now, he replaced Blue. Well, Dwight and I have been singing all our lives. And when we sing, we had a group called Gerald Alston and the New Imperials.
Mm-hmm.
And on Friday and Saturday night, we were the New Imperials. Every Sunday morning, we were Gospel Jubilee. And we just go around from church to church, didn't ask for no money, just go to church and sit in the back of the church and wait for them to call us to sing because we knew they would call us to sing. And then finally we started doing some of the shows. We did a show with Clarence Fountain when he was solo, Edna Gorman Cook.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we had a chance to work with quite a few artists and be around the gospel. Gospel is my life. And I think my father, or not I have to think about it, my father gave me the best advice anyone could ever give me. He told me, son, he said, sing what you believe, sing what you identify with. don't sing a lie.
Oh, wow.
And first I used to understand that, but then I realized if you can't believe in it, if you can't identify with it, why are you going to sing it? Because you're not telling the truth. You're not putting yourself into it.
You know,
so he always taught me that.
you
And he said, the other thing he told me, he said, because I remember one time a pastor at home jumped all over me. I was visiting in Henderson, and he jumped all over me about singing the devil's music. You're singing music for the devil. And my Uncle Johnny stopped and said, Red, wait a minute, wait a minute. He was raised in the church. And my uncle told him the same thing that my daddy had told me prior to that. And this is what both of them had said to me. As long as you're singing something, bringing love, happiness, and peace, and joy to a person, you are using God's talent. Just the way he wanted you to use it. Whether it be R&B or whether it be gospel, as long as you bring joy and peace and happiness to the fans and give them something, or be a servant for them through your song and as a ministry, you're doing exactly what God wants you to do. So don't feel like because I sing Kiss and Say Goodbye, or I sing Shining Star, or We Never Danced to a Love Song, or Hurt, or There's No Me Without You, that I'm singing the devil's music, because I've made a lot of people happy.
Yes, you
I made
have.
a lot of people
Yes, you
happy.
have. And you know,
and not me, but God, through me, God used me to give them that joy. So that's why I still sing with the Manhattan.
well, you
And
know, I
don't
tell
ever
you
stop.
something. You bring and the Manhattan's dead, but we're talking about you now because we really want to talk about
Right.
your journey now. But you have always brought a certain vibration to your songs, your certain rhythm, and that is something that you can't make that up. You can't just pretend with the vibration that I personally have felt in my whole life, my whole musical career, and listening to your audience, and I've been a part of your audience. And there's a certain vibration that you bring to the table that you just explained. Because I've always wondered, I said, regardless of what this young man sings, he has a particular vibration that comes off very loving, very kind, very spiritual. And I think that you just answered that question in my head. How? Well, you know, what was this? And I appreciate you explaining it the way you did.
Thank you.
You know, because many people compromise, and we know people. You know, I've been blessed enough to work with some of the greats in this industry, just like yourself, um, from Smokey Robinson,
hmm
Tupac. Uh, you know, I'm blessed enough to work and travel with James Ingram as we speak. And there are those that just don't compromise a certain level of integrity when it comes down to their talents and their skills. And you have been one of those. And I really, really appreciate. Now, what song do we have over there, Tony? Do you know? We're gonna let people hear a taste of your gospel music, and what I want to
Okay.
do is, and tell us how this song came about. Jesus is a friend of mine.
Okay. You want after or before?
Whichever one. I would like for you to talk about it before we even play it.
Okay. Well, this song is a collaboration with Will Downing and Chris Big Dog Davis. Chris is a great producer, keyboard player, and he works with Will Downing. And Will Downing and I have worked many times together, and we always talked about doing a song together. So it's just like it was all planned. It seemed like God just put it in place. While we was recording, I got on the phone and I called Will, and I said, Will, I need a song. And I told him I'm doing a gospel album. He said, come down to my house. Jumped in my car, went down his house, and inside 30 minutes, we had written the song. He had a track already,
Oh, wow.
and he had an idea. Inside 30 minutes, we wrote the song. We put a scratch vocal down. I went down the next night, sang the song. And Will Downing does a wonderful, his style, his everything. And you could tell what he's singing, just like both of us, you could tell it's coming from within. It's coming from not something we heard, but something we know.
Mm-hmm.
And when he came up with the, when he told me that, he said, I got this title, Jesus is a friend of mine. I knew exactly where to go when I sat down and started writing. The Lord just gave me words, and it did the same thing to him.
And the reason I wanted you to explain, the reason I wanted you to do that, because a lot of the times, you know, I think this is probably the first gospel song I've ever even played on the show. I had a gospel album. I've promoted jazz, blues, R&B. But I think this is first gospel, and a lot of my audience may not be gospel music people, but then there's this huge part that really is. But I like to, you know, to let people know that the vibrations of the spirit of what you're talking about, and then now they'll get to hear it for themselves. Jesus is a Friend of Mine by Gerald Alston of the Manhattan.
Talking about Jesus. Jesus is a friend of mine. Yes, he is. Jesus is a really good friend. A friend of mine. When I wake up in the morning, I call your name. And when the day turns to night, I do the same. All day long I hold to your promises. Never once have you ever left me alone. Always there on the main line when I call. I can call 50 times a day, he don't mind at all. His love for me is always the same. I can feel it when I call his name. Jesus is a friend of mine. Yes, he is. Jesus, a friend of mine. As I stand here, there's some things I'm ashamed to say. Many bumps on the road for me while on my way. I know what's right, I know what's wrong, and things I shouldn't do. And when temptation calls my name, I call on you. Forgive me for the thoughts that I've had today. Forgive me for the things that I've said myself. My highs have been high and my lows very low. But when I need you, it's good to know that Jesus is a friend. He's a friend of mine with a love divine. Oh, yes, he is. A friend of mine. Call him. Call him. Call him. Call him. Call him. Right now in the middle of the day, you can call his name. Call him. He'll be right there on time. Jesus. Jesus, you are my shining star. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're my hope. You're my morning star. Yeah, everything to me. Jesus, you're right. A friend of mine. Oh, Jesus, oh, Jesus, oh, Jesus, you truly are. A friend of mine, yeah, yeah, yeah. Jesus. Oh, yeah. He's a friend of mine. You're a mighty good friend of mine. Yes, you are. Oh, he's a friend of mine. He never turned his back on me. He'll always be there to show me the way. Hey, you're a mighty good friend. Jesus. She's a friend Jesus, he's a friend of mine. Yes, he is. Oh, yes, he is. Yes, he is. A friend of mine. Jesus is a friend of mine. Whoa. Jesus, a friend of mine.
Gerald.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You took us to church on that one, man. That is absolutely beautiful, man. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
that. Is there a website that people can go on and where can people get the album?
Okay, now that's what I was just thinking about. You can go to my website at www.geraldalstonmusic.com. And you can
one more
order
time.
from
Do it
there.
again.
www.geraldalstonmusic.com. And you can also go to CD Baby. You can order from CD Baby.
That is a beautiful. Go to CD Baby. Support this young man. This is legendary music, and don't listen to Larry. The music is speaking for itself. That is beautiful, man. That must give you a lot of fulfillment. And like you said, you're not coming back home. You've always been there, and I really appreciate that. And are you going to be performing in this? Wait a minute, before you answer that. I told you I had a nickname for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone told me to say, well, tell him he's still Edmund's husband.
Oh my God! Yes.
Carla Earl called me. She got our email blast, and she called me. Well, Carla used to be the co-host for my show here.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
Yes, when we first started, it was Carla and Warren McGee, and she saw the email blast. She called me on the way to the studio, and said, "Well, we just did the Gerald Levert project, and was it in Houston?"
Yeah, it was in Houston. Baby, hold on to me.
Oh my goodness! How did that? How do you feel doing that kind of project?
I felt good. It was great, and I had a chance to be myself in the play, and I spoke about the relationship that the few times that Gerald and I worked together.
Mm-hmm.
And Carla, you should have seen it. Carla had them girls. Woo! Let me not say girls. Carla staged the whole show. She did a wonderful job.
Oh, she's so good at what she does.
She did a wonderful job.
So she told me, said, tell him that he's still Edmund's husband.
That's right. And that's the first thing she told. We was in the lobby the other night at the hotel talking. Group of us in there talking. But she said that we fell all to pieces. She said, you still Edna's husband.
Yeah. Because Carla, for the audience, Carla met Gerald's wife before she met him. And I think for a while that all she knew that you was her husband, so she hadn't met you at the time.
Right.
But I just thought I'd throw that in. And God bless you, Carla, and send all the blessings to she and her kids. But let's go back to this album. Tell us a little bit more about we're gonna do another song because this 50 minutes go by so fast.
Yeah, it does.
And once again, I may just drive you nuts with this, but I do appreciate so much that you come on the show. And I always remember that the Larry Yates As Is show, as long as I got this show, and anything that I can do to support. So, please call me. You have my numbers, you have my information, you have my team numbers. So we really appreciate that. So tell us a little bit more about the album and what it feels like to have your first gospel album out there.
It's a wonderful feeling. I had a chance. As I told you earlier, my cousin Dwight, he and I singing I'm So Glad We Do It. That was a song by the Soulstress, Sam Cooke and the Soulstress.
Yes.
And then I did I'm So Glad, Wonderful, He's So Wonderful, and Jesus Gave Me Water, and Last Mile of the Way. And I got those versions, and the Soulstress version. I just listened to them, and I just built on that and brought it to a production of today. I also had the pleasure of recording Irreplaceable with Regina Belle.
Oh, wow.
And Regina, we worked together back in '83. Okay. She was a part of the Manhattans before her solo career took off. And as usual, she stepped in and she just nailed it.
Well, let me ask you a question.
He had all the people in the right place.
Yes,
he
does. Especially when you're open to it. No, please, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
I did. My dream came true. I had a chance. I always wanted to sing with my father. I never got a chance to sing with my father.
Really?
On record. Right. But I had the pleasure of recording Yes, God Is Real with both of my sons, or two of my sons, Todd and Calvin Alston. And they did a wonderful job.
Well, you know, what a blessing, man. Now that's the type of stuff that I love. This is why listen to the Larry Yates As Is show, people. This is the kind of quality people you get on this show, and to share that dream came true for you. That is such a wonderful, wonderful thing. And we have one more song because this time is being eaten up, and I just want to share your music as much as we can.
Okay.
During these last few minutes of the show, and so what's the next song we have up there? Yes, God is real. Tell us a little bit about this. Yes, God is real.
Okay. Yes, God Is Real. That was when my father was singing in the quartet. They had a group called the Gospel Brothers, and when we were little, they used to practice. And the first song that I remember hearing my dad sing was Yes, God Is Real. Just like I remember his first sermon he preached.
Wow.
That I remember he preached.
Well, what we're going to do, because of the time is a little, we want to get the song in, and your father was a big influence on that song. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You wanted to say something?
Yeah. He sang, I heard him sing Yes, God Is Real. And that was also my grandfather's favorite song. And so I got a chance to do it with my son. And it'll speak for itself. The song itself is one that's close to my heart, that I truly love, and it'll be with me all my life. That's my theme song.
We're going to go to that. Yes, God is real.
His love for me is like pure gold.
My God is real, for I can feel Him in my soul. There are some things I may not know. There are some places I cannot go. But I am sure of this one thing: God is real, for I can feel Him in my soul. Yes, God is real.
God is real.
He's real in my soul.
My soul.
My God is real, for He's washed and He's made me whole. His love for me is like pure gold. My God is real, for I can feel Him in my soul. Lord, I cannot tell just how you felt when Jesus washed your sins all away. But since that day, and since that hour, my God is real, for I can
you're making me feel like a little. You're taking me back when I was a little boy. And that is just so beautiful. That is so beautiful. And when we look at the troubles of the world now, and we look at how people are lost and trying to find their way, and those that are believers. I know some of you watch that is not believers. So right at this moment in time, I'm not talking to the non-believers. That's your right. But now I'm talking to the believers. This is a song that should touch anybody that is a believer. But the energy, the vibration of it crosses all barriers. And I want to appreciate you and your sons for doing that. I mean, this time is coming to such a quick end, so we have a few more minutes. And tell me a little bit about the little boy, Gerald, that wanted to be a singer, do it professionally, and now you end up with a song with your kids, your young men. How does that feel?
Well, it's a blessing, and it's a wonderful feeling. It's like coming full circle. Just like my cousin and I coming back to sing together. Singing with my son is coming back as a full circle. And it's so funny. My youngest son, Calvin, when he recorded it, he said he was a little nervous. So he said, Dad, I got to do it again. I said, okay. So I was trying to tell him, give him some advice to sing, and he got his confidence up. He told me, he said, Dad, look, I got this. He went in the studio and he nailed it. I didn't say nothing else.
Oh my goodness!
I am so proud, and God has blessed me. And He's still blessing me. This is, like I said, my first solo project. I got my sons on there. We're singing together. It's just a blessing, and I will continue to sing gospel until the Lord calls me home. And this is not going to be my only gospel album. I'll be coming back with another one.
Well, whether I'm doing this show or just handling regular radio like I normally do, you stay in contact with me and always keep me in mind if there's anything that I can do. Then once again, people can get the album on CD, baby. Gerald Alston, and what's the name of the album again?
Yeah, it's Gerald Alston, True Gospel, and the website is www.geraldalstonmusic.com.
Joe, I tell you, this has been fun, educational, and all of that other good stuff. Is there anybody you want to send a shout out to?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank God for this opportunity, because without His grace and mercy, none of this will be possible. And I would like to also thank Ms. Dorian Edwards at Consult Entertainment. She has done a wonderful job. She put together a release party for me out in Long Beach last week. She's really been on it, and I love her dearly. That is my sister, and I am blessed to have her in my life and to do the work that she's doing. Thank you, Larry. Thank you. And to all my fans in the listening ear, thank you for your support. Check out my gospel album.
Yeah.
And I promise you, it will bring you a joy different than what you may have ever had.
And I know that to be true. And your publicist out here, I told her, I said, a friend of mine, I got to give Miles Grayson's some shout out. He's a friend of mine that got me together with your publicist. And she has been on top of it, man. I tell you, she called a few minutes just before you came on the show, and she is really working her magic. And because we're right at the end of the hour here, Gerald, I like to have the artist or the guest to give a few words of wisdom to the audience, as we say, and as we close the show out.
So my words, the words of wisdom that I can share, is that keep your faith strong in God. Keep your faith strong. You were speaking about the non-believers. I think God has His own way of bringing everybody around. We're just supposed to just pass the message just as He gives it to us and step off. And whether you're atheist or not, you step off. You give the message and step off. God will handle the rest.
That's right.
You know.
Before
And,
you go, let me ask you a quick question. What singer influenced you the most when you were coming up?
Sam Cooke.
Sam
My dad
Cooke.
is Sam Cooke. Yep.
Oh, wow. But anyway, I think that was great words of wisdom that you, like you said, just give it to God. And I mean, you put it out there and let God do the rest. And,
That's it.
And I appreciate you saying that. And a message from me, I'm going to end the show with, I am a person that I'm a big dreamer. And I'm talking to the audience, those of you that have dreams, that have hopes and want to make a difference in your life and want to be to the next level of your dreams and hopes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to what Gerald said. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Don't give up. Keep pushing. Step out of the box. Make your life into what you want it to be. If you can dream it, you can be it, but you have to get out and believe it. As we always end this show, remember, a nation can rise no higher than it elevates its woman. Gerald, I want to thank you, bless you, and you have a wonderful day. And let's talk soon.
Thank you, Larry.
Okay,
All right.
bye-bye.
You got it. Bye-bye.
Now let me welcome everybody.